How has being ugly affected her social experience? Let's find out.
Being ugly is probably one of the most painful things in the entire world, because no matter what you do or how you try to change yourself, society will always see you as ugly, no matter what you do. No matter how you change yourself, no matter, I'm just saying, being unattractive to other people, whether you, look older than your age, like me, I look fucking 35.
That is wild. Usually I am the person that people think is a lot older than my age. I used to have facial hair. It got to be kind of crazy. I would not have guessed she was that age at all. I would have probably thought early 20s, but it can be really hard to get out of that mindset when you've had that feedback.
Apparently, or you look younger than your age, or you have, buck teeth, which I used to have, or you have, features that aren't conventionally attractive to other people. People are going to treat you badly, and they're going to treat you.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing about being ugly or being perceived as ugly, either by yourself or other people, is that your treatment is subpar in comparison to somebody that fits the conventional beauty standards of whatever area or society they're living in. And on top of that, I think it can be particularly brutal when this treatment extends beyond just social treatment. It can extend to medical treatment. It can extend to job opportunities. And that is very unjust.
Differently, and it's so stressful because all you want to do, all you have ever wanted to do, right, is fit in with those people, and you realize it's never gonna happen because you don't look like them, you don't feel like them, you don't act like them, you're not those people.
Especially as a kid. When you are a kid, you just want to fit in with your peer group. You just want to be treated like everybody else. You don't want special treatment. Just being part of the ship, part of the crew, you want to be like everybody else and fit in. Because everyone else is getting more or less fair treatment within the group. This can be particularly brutal when it happens in elementary school, but then it doesn't stop there. It continues into high school, maybe into college, maybe past that. And getting out of that space can be a very dark time for a lot of people.
Being unattractive seems like it wouldn't be such a bad thing, right? Because, when you're an attractive person, you don't really know any different. You don't understand. Having a body dysmorphia episode right now, but this is based in my experiences, my reality right now.
That can also be really tough when you are in a box of feedback and you can't expand outside of that, or you're just not in contact with enough external sources to get more objective and constructive feedback about whatever it is you're worried about. That can be a really tough place to be.
The reason I really started this YouTube channel is so that I could talk about my experiences as an unattractive woman, as a woman that's not conventional, as someone who's been through bullying, who's been through, really troubling things with having friends, tell me that I'm unattractive, having, people that I thought were supposed to be, people who love me, telling me that I'm not that cute, or that they could do better than me, and it's when you...
That can be especially brutal when that box she's in is also proliferated by the people that are closest to her, and they're giving her really negative and harsh comments. That will really affect your head if it's coming from your, blood family, chosen family, closest friends, significant others. That can really tear somebody down. It takes a lot of courage to get out of those spaces and to find other people that actually lift you up.
You're an ugly woman, at least. Society literally treats you as if you have no worth, okay? I'm just being very truthful right now. People course, this is true if you're also an ugly man, but I'm an ugly woman. This is my experience. People, men, women, look right past you. You could wear makeup. You could not wear makeup. You could do your hair all nice. You could not do your hair all nice. You could wear dresses. You could wear like really girly, frilly things and make yourself look really nice in your mind. And then you'll get like either nothing, like no comments, and you see other women getting comments on their...
I would also hazard a guess here that when she is dolling herself up and going out someplace, maybe she doesn't get as much attention as some of the more conventionally attractive women in that area or social context. But I'd be willing to bet that there's still hidden attention. So guys that think she's attractive but are just too shy to talk to her, or they don't want to be socially weird and just gawk and stare at her. And there's just a smaller pool of people in general that are going to be contributing very obvious, noticeable attention to her, even though honestly to me she looks like a very normal person, not ugly in the slightest. And I think most people are kind of caught in their formative experiences, and it can be very demoralizing to even see traces of the same type of behavior when you're out and about. And if that behavior is just indifference, then when you're surrounded by indifference, you're going to associate that with poor treatment back from then. But I don't want to discount her experiences or points because I know there's so much more information that I'm missing here.
Her appearances, and it's like, you feel like an outlier in some way. You feel like you're not a woman. When you're not the standard, you feel like you're not a female. You feel like you're not accepted. You don't feel like a real person because other people seem to understand something that you're not understanding. And then when you come to realize when you're older that it's based off of the most shallow shit in the entire universe, how you look, the fact.
And I think most people hate this. I think most people hate the fact that as humans, we generally do tend to front load a lot of a person's value based on their first impression and what they look like. I think most of us wish that we all had X-ray vision into somebody's character when we first saw them. And we would all be a lot happier, I think, if that was possible.
And it's based off of just the surface level of how you look and not what's inside of you, and not what actually really matters, not what you contribute to the world, not anything like that. And I feel like if you're attractive and if you're born attractive and you grow up and people, they say you're attractive and they coddle you and they say, oh, you're so beautiful. Oh, your parents, I don't know.
Side note, that's why I think it's generally good to have a sibling, is because supportive parents, I don't think, if they care about you, I don't think they're gonna tear you down. Ideally, your parents should be building you up. But siblings, they will tell you stuff that your parents can never tell you. Siblings will tell you stuff, and ideally they are not saying terrible things to you about things you cannot change, but rather your choices. For example, one of my siblings told me that my shirt was whack. And I just don't think that my parents would have said something like that to me. So you start this quest to kind of find the truth and balancing it between the input you get from all of your family and what you get from your peers and the outside world in general.
They tell you all the time, like, oh, you're a beautiful young woman. Oh, I never got that. There are women out there. This is a whole new experience if you're a regular attractive woman, right? Women who aren't attractive or average looking or have grown up and they have had bad experiences with their looks and things like that, they don't experience that stuff. Like getting hit on, having admirers, having, success in dating, any kind of success, having people ask them out, having men stare at them, having people give them any kind of attention ever.
This is kind of wild to me to even hear that she's receiving subpar treatment. I believe it, but I remember in high school, I knew somebody that looked very similar to her. And she got plenty of attention. I don't know what it was, but there was guys asking her out to prom, and she didn't really receive any subpar social treatment or preferential treatment. She just existed and was generally doing fine in high school. Which just goes to show how your local community and social context can influence your beliefs about yourself to a huge degree if you let it.
Compliments, even the most basic compliments. People don't want to compliment you when you're an ugly woman. I feel like I haven't talked about this. People don't want to compliment you because they'll think that you will think that they like you. And oh God, they wouldn't want that. They wouldn't want an ugly woman thinking that they like her. So they'll just opt to not talk to her at all. I've seen it so many times at work, school, just generally, like the friend who's not as conventionally attractive will not be talked to first, right? The women who...
That part is especially brutal. When you are out and about, when you see your friends get approached over and over by guys as a woman, and you don't get the same treatment, it is unfortunately very compelling evidence that within the social spaces that you are going to, you are being treated differently. And there is a reason for that, and you can take whatever negative thoughts you have about yourself and amplify them by 1,000,000.
Are obviously, dressed super well, who, in my opinion, they're attractive, but if we're talking about society's opinion, no, they wouldn't be. I think it's too normalized to shit on ugly women. It's way, way too normalized because I think it's just because women are known for like only their beauty and what they can bring with their beauty. And I don't want to be a prize. I think all I really want is to be normal and to feel normal. And I think that's what most women want. I think if you would talk to most women, they would tell you they just, want to be normal. They want to fit in with any group, even if it's not the mainstream group. People want friends. And unfortunately, when you're not as conventionally attractive, people really do ignore you. They really treat you differently. And I don't think that people who are average or attractive understand that. I've been treated differently my whole life, whether or not someone finds me attractive. And it drives me up the wall. It drives me up the wall because very, very few people in my life have ever shown their attraction to me, right? Very few people. We're talking less than a handful. If we're not counting creepy dudes online, because that happens, but that happens to most women online, whether or not they're attractive. And now that I'm going through a deep depression and I feel ugly, right? I feel disgusting and disturbingly ugly. And I probably am. I definitely look like shit, 95% of the time. Some of you people can probably relate to me if you're going through a bad depression. I also have severe body dysmorphia, so that kind of keeps me from looking in the mirror and looking the best that I probably could look. But holy shit, does it make a difference in how you look and how other people treat you. It really, really does. And I wish it wasn't like that. I just had foot surgery or ankle surgery. I'm in pain right now. I'm frustrated. I'm in pain. I'm having a body dysmorphia episode. I am messing my hair up. I have a knot in the back of my hair now because I was pulling my hair out a minute ago. This causes me a massive amount of stress. I just feel like unattractive women, even if society feels like we're unattractive, We have to find something in ourselves that is attractive, and we have to put our best foot forward. Me personally, I haven't found it yet. I don't know what's attractive about me. I don't think I have anything, really. I think that everything about me is unattractive or mid-level. Like, my hair's okay. My face is unattractive. My body's okay. Like, I don't think that's just my body dysmorphia talking either. I think I'm just like not that cute. And
that's another thing that can be pretty dangerous. And I think most people have experienced this, which is when you have the idea in your head that you are being objective, and then you start telling yourself negative things about your appearance and how other people perceive you, that is a losing battle that you will never win. The 3 pillars of self-confidence and self-esteem is what you tell yourself, what other people tell you, and lack of comparison. You have control over 2 out of those 3. So the odds are actually in your favor, but it does take a lot of self-discipline to maintain that mindset and to keep practicing treating yourself well.
being cute is like important or something. I don't know, man. I don't know.
And for what it's worth, I never even noticed anything about her hair. I just figured it's morning bed hair and she hasn't really brushed it or combed it or anything. I didn't notice anything else about it. So for what it's worth, people will notice different things about you.
It's even worse when, you feel like you had a phase where you were kind of cute, because it's like you go from, like, whether that be like weight shifting or, your hair changing or a sickness happening, something in your body changes. You're like, why can't I go back to when I felt attractive? It's never gonna happen again. That's not gonna be you anymore, because that's in the past. And I've had to think about it like that, because I have done this thing where, I've looked at high school pictures and I'm like, I really wasn't that unattractive. And I realized that I'm never gonna look like that again because I was a teenager.
There's comparing yourself to yourself in the past, and usually that's a good thing when you're using it as a barometer for how much you've grown mentally, emotionally, maybe physically if you're a big gym person. But comparing yourself in terms of youthfulness and appearance in the past is a losing battle for everyone since the dawn of time. Father Time is undefeated, and that is an exercise in futility. Aging is something we all have to come to grips with in our own terms. But thinking that you can never be attractive just because you were more so in the past is also not going to help you break out of these negative self-reinforcing thoughts.
I'm only going to get older, and that doesn't necessarily mean that I'm going to get uglier, but it just means that I'm not going backwards. I'm not aging backwards. There's no way that I can go back in time and be as skinny or as clear-skinned or have less wrinkles or have fuller lips. Or it's hard to accept it because other people don't seem to accept it. Other people don't want you to accept how you look when you're a woman and you're aging,
I've heard this before. The difference between aging in men and women is essentially that men are simply allowed to age, whereas women are not. And if you don't take every single anti-aging protocol, procedure ever, then in society's eyes, you are losing the battle against aging and you're going to get subpar treatment. And that is just so crooked to me because that's just not something any of us can control. No one can control aging.
I made a big mistake. I took an age calculator app thing. It was so stupid. I don't know why I did it. I also posted on Reddit, right? True Rate Me. They kept giving me 4s, and I was like...
Yeah, the internet also is pretty brutal. If you're seeking feedback that is truly as objective as you can get, I would not look to the internet for it, because The internet is not unbiased. The internet just loves tearing down anyone and anything. I would talk to real people that you don't know that well in real life. They don't have a reason to love you. They don't have a reason to hate you. And I would gather from new social contexts more so what people think about. Obviously asking directly, am I attractive or not? Or what hotness am I out of 10? That's not going to be the most productive thing, because a lot of people have to essentially put out something that they deem as socially acceptable, especially if it's in a group setting. But when you form deeper connections with people and you can actually start trusting them little bit by little bit more with vulnerable topics and some of your insecurities, when they prove they're worthy and trustworthy of being vulnerable around, then I think that's where you can get a little bit more of an objective feedback.
Really, really hurt my feelings because I don't know why I did it.
That would hurt anyone, by the way. I saw a chart with all the weeks of your life based on a 90 or 100 year duration, which absolutely not everybody even reaches half of sometimes. And that depressed me because I saw on a piece of paper how many weeks of my life there were and how many had already gone. And that's not going to help anybody. That's not going to help anybody at all. So doing that with age and doing the internet feedback anonymous thing is just it's never gonna boost you up, even in a best case scenario.
I don't know why I did it. I think when I feel low like this, I do certain behaviors that I know would be harmful to me. If you think you're unattractive, okay, do not post online. Do not post on rating subreddits. Do not post your picture on Reddit. Anyone can comment. Me, I'm used to the comments I get in my YouTube comment section, which they're usually very kind. Not a lot of people are out here being mean to me. But if you're insecure about yourself, you should not be posting on those subreddits, because I've made massive mistake doing that, or doing an age calculator. Because apparently I look 30. Is that true? Do you guys think that? Do you think that? Sorry, I haven't brushed my teeth. I feel gross. Anyway, it's like 7 a.m. right now. I don't know what time it is, like 6, 7 a.m., something like that. And I'm like, I don't know if it's my medication making me moody. Maybe I'm on Oxycontin right now. But I just felt really passionate about being unattractive and having people judge me for that, and the fact that I just want to exist in a world without judgment, and I just want people to hear what I have to say. So that's it, I guess. I don't know. If you're unattractive, I stand in solidarity with you, because I'm also unattractive. I feel unattractive. I've been told I'm unattractive. I don't know if it's gonna get easier for us, because society's really a bitch, but at least we have each other, I guess. Maybe we can make like an ugly band, like, okay, not like a musical band. That kind of sounded like I'm in a musical band. I mean, we could do that, but I meant like an ugly, like, group of, like, people who, like, come together, like, banding together. Not like a musical group, because I'm not musically talented. And maybe some of you are, I don't know. Maybe you guys could do that and I could just, like, watch and applaud from the sidelines. Anyway, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm just really passionate right now. I'm passionate about lookism. I fucking hate lookism. Hate it. One of the worst things on this entire planet. Worst thing is, every time I try to talk about it with someone in real life, they're just like, I feel like they're always like, I'm like, oh, well, as an unattractive woman, they're just like, you're not ugly. You don't look anything like those people. And I'm like, what do you mean by those people, for one? Kind of fucking rude.
Yeah, referring to any group of people as those people is always going to be hurtful to those people, and it's never going to reflect well on you. So I highly recommend against that in any situation. Being
unattractive is not a sin, all right? I know that everyone likes to demonize it. Being unattractive is not a sin. You're just a person, right? Just because society deems you unattractive doesn't mean you don't have fucking worth. You're a person. I know I have worth. I need to fucking find it, really. You guys need to find it too, anyone who's struggling with the same stuff as I'm struggling with. You need to find it for yourself, because nobody else is going to coddle you, unlike attractive people and average people. Those people have cushioning. We are bareback. We are riding through life, bumping up and down like on a horse. I take solace in the fact that there are other people going through it. It's gonna be rough, right? It sucks fucking ass. It is terrible. Only real thing that we can do is find healthy coping mechanisms, go through therapy, and talk about experiences because they exist, and I don't think it's okay to not talk about them just because other people think it's socially unacceptable to call yourself ugly, or socially unacceptable to say that ugliness exists.
This is a little spark of idealism here, but I think that it would be wonderful if nobody received preferential treatment and there wasn't such a stigma with being ugly. Like, I think as long as it didn't affect actual quality of life, I think people would be much better off if somebody could just say that someone else is ugly, but that's not a bad reflection on them. But even more so than that, because reality doesn't really work that way, I think barring horrific dismemberment or, catastrophic injury, I think pretty much everyone can be attractive if you're just healthy in general. Fitness, nutrition, skincare, style, fashion. I think everyone can be attractive if you really take care of yourself. And not just on the outside, but on the inside too. When somebody's confident, secure, when you tell them something negative about them in a bad manner with ill intent, and they just tell you to go screw yourself, that is really attractive. When somebody really believes in themselves, when they have a solid sense of identity and self-worth, and they take care of themselves outside and inside.
Because if you talk to literally anyone, right, for long enough, you'll come to find out what they find unattractive, and not just unattractive, but ugly. I remember I was talking to someone, I can't remember, I think it was an online friend or something. They said to me, oh, I don't believe ugly people exist. And in the same breath, they said, well, you're not like those other ugly girls. And it's whiplash. What does that even mean? I don't think there's any logic in pretending like our struggles aren't real, because we have them. I know this is a long video, and I'm sorry. And I have to pee, so I gotta go soon. I gotta wheel my wheelchair into the bathroom, and that's always really fun. Being in this situation, is in a situation where you feel unattractive and you are unattractive and you can't take pictures and you can't go outside and you feel like people are looking at you and talking about you. It really, really fucking sucks. And that's body dysmorphia and my past experiences combining together to make me feel like shit. Just take my advice and realize that everybody is judgmental to a certain degree, but that it doesn't have to control your life. It sucks. It sucks so bad. It sucks so bad. And I know, you think I don't know. I know how bad it sucks. I get told online that I'm not that attractive, or that I'm not that cute, or that I'm not that this, or that I'm not that that. And you know what? I know. You don't have to tell me, because I know already. And I've been told my entire life. Trying to find ways to value myself other than my appearance. And it's so difficult to do that. But one of these days I'm going to do it. And I'm not going to think about it anymore. And I'm not going to let other people tell me what is attractive and what's not attractive, because I'll have my own opinions on that.
See, and that's exactly what I'm talking about right there. When somebody that's been given so much negative feedback starts taking the attitude of, screw you, I'm tired of feeling bad about myself, and I am not going to receive any more ill-intended input on what I look like when I never asked for it, ignoring the fact that she literally did ask for it on the internet a couple times, but ignoring that. all the unasked for feedback that she has received throughout her life. That right there is confidence. That right there is when you start turning the corner. When you say to yourself, I'm my own person, I'm going to find a way to win in life. I'm going to stop apologizing for existing, and I am going to find a way to win. That right there is just one of the coolest things about the human spirit, is even when all these crushing circumstances and input happens, the person decides to make a change and they decide to stop letting other people's opinions and input have an outsized impact on what they feel and how they live their life. That is just awesome. And that right there is probably one of the most attractive things she said this entire video.
Anyway, it's almost 20 minutes, so I am gonna go pee. Wish me luck in the bathroom. Thank you for listening to my long rant about lookism, because I hate lookism, and I'm sure a lot of you do.
I've heard of that as well, and I think generally it's not a great thing to get into, because the whole crux of it is you as yourself, you are not enough. You do not look good enough, therefore you are not enough. I think that is a terrible message to send out there. And it's very different from people just trying to get fit, have better hairstyle, skincare, better fashion. It's completely different. The core message behind it is you are not enough. Granted, I have not looked in depth into lookism, but just from the limited information I have seen and heard about it thus far, it has not been a very, I think, positive or helpful message for many people out there. Let's take a look at the comments. Here we go. Comments time. Seeing a pretty girl make a video about calling herself ugly and her experience breaks me. Now that I've seen a pretty girl call herself ugly, makes me understand why I was always treated so horribly in my life. You're so much prettier than me, and I wish you the best in feeling better with yourself. You deserve it. I think that's a pretty common thought that people have, is when they see this video, the girl, I don't think by many people's measures, she is by no means ugly. And for many people, she's pretty. It's just such a shame that she doesn't see that and feel that. You feel like you're not a woman. Literally so true. I never feel feminine enough, so I wear oversized shirts and boy shorts. I think fashion can definitely have a big impact on how attractive you are perceived, and also how you feel about yourself, how you carry yourself and communicate in spaces. I think fashion has a big impact on that. Although I would caution people to not let that be a deciding pillar of your identity, is your fashion, but more so that it's the cherry on top of what is already a great ice cream sundae, aka yourself. You look 18 to 19. Yeah, I thought 23, but I definitely could believe 18 to 19 as well. And this is what I was talking about earlier. Your feelings are valid, but you are so far from ugly. You're quite beautiful, actually. So, living in idealistic world for a second, even if she was super ugly, which I don't think she is, I don't think that should be a negative thing. I don't think that should reflect badly on her. I don't think she should get any worse treatment than anyone else. And I think she should have the same amount of positive attention everyone else gets. And I know that varies incredibly from person to person. But in idealism world, this logic works out. Yeah, so this really ties into the social aspect. People ignore ugly girls, that's the truth. My first day of college, this beautiful rich girl said that she was shy as me. Literally the next day, she became friends with the popular girls. People get sorted into different bins based on attractiveness, wealth, capability, achievement, and often these bins intermix, but you'll see this a lot, especially during school years, where all the popular kids are high achievers, or they're hot, or they're just drowning in money. They tend to find each other and kind of stratify their social hierarchy based on these things. And that is from a micro level within the group to a macro level, which is entire groups of people finding each other and sticking together based on their measurement collectively on these different aspects of a person. At the end of the day, everyone wants to feel valued. And I think everyone has value and can be valued. It's just a matter of finding the right people that actually appreciate what you're bringing to the table. It helps even more when people aren't tearing you down. And that's a big thing socially that everyone needs to work on, is that old saying, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it at all. I really think part of being a social leader is building people up, not tearing people down. So that was a banger video by The Crooked Lady. Thanks for putting this out there. I know it was a very vulnerable video, and you absolutely killed it, being congruent and making your thoughts known about your situation, about society. Thank you for putting that out. And you, the viewer, thanks for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.